This one is probably one of the more recognizable hieroglyphs out there. You can probably tell this is a bee or a wasp. But how was this hieroglyph used in ancient Egyptian, and especially how was it used when talking about the king or pharaoh? That's what we'll get into today. All right, so how was this hieroglyph that's a picture of a bee or wasp used? Well, it could be used, as you might expect, as a logogram for the words for bee, wasp, or honey, which would be beet in the way that we pronounce it today from Egyptian. And like most of the other hieroglyphs that we've looked at, it can then also be used in other words with those same sounds. However, this one is really not used in a very wide array of words. So in the last video, we talked about the Sioux sedge plant. That's used in a ton of words. This one, not so much. And the most common place you will definitely see this is in one of the words for the king, BT, or sometimes rendered as just beat also. Now, in contrast with Nesu that we talked about last time, BT literally means one who is of the bee or one who owns the bee. So similar kind of construction as with Nesu, but instead we're talking about a bee or wasp rather than a sedge plant. And it is associated with the area of Lower Egypt, that is the northern part of the country. However, it is also related to the concept of sort of the current king, that is the one who is actually in this eternal office of kingship. So you have this contrast between Nesut and BT, where one relates to Upper Egypt and also to this sort of eternal office of kingship itself rather than the individual, the almost sort of the divine aspect of it. Whereas then with BT, you have a reference to Lower Egypt and to the actual particular king, like holding the office. So you will see in older texts this translated as king of Upper and Lower Egypt because of the association of the sedge and the bee with Upper and Lower Egypt. However, because we have now expanded our understanding of the meaning of these terms over the last few decades, and now realize that it has to also do with this other duality having to do with the divine eternal office of kingship for Nesut and also the current holder of the office in the BT, we now prefer a translation of dual king because it gives you the idea that there are these two parts, these dual parts to the king, and it encompasses both potential combinations, not just the king of Upper and Lower Egypt as used to be used. The place you'll see BT used the most is in combination with Nesut, which makes sense since these together make the dual king. And this is a phrase that generally comes before the throne name of the king. Now, this is actually one of the later names to be developed for the king. Eventually, he did have the 5-name titulary. This is one of the last ones to be incorporated, but it becomes actually the most important, the most used over time. So what is this ring that we see around this that you've probably heard of as a cartouche? Well, that's what we'll get into in the next video, so I'll see you there.